Hey, this is Scott Connor. This is the 187th episode of ETX Rock featuring Sean McConnell.
This is Boston Chris with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show.
Louise here.
Descript. Featuring all genres and styles of entertainment.
And coming to the ETX ROCKS.
Let's hear it from Louise, please.
From the unheralded and unheard to the legends and beyond.
Out of the box, ETX ROCKS.
It's awesome.
We keep them coming.
$5, that's pocket change.
Well, hey, y'all, this is Haley McDaniel. Are y'all ready for this?
ETX ROCKS Show is the greatest show of all time, okay?
We are ETX ROCKS.
The ETX ROCKS Show is the best show of all time, say? The other shows, you're good, you're real good. As long as we're around, you'll be second best, say?
Cut.
Hey guys, this is Rich O'Toole, and thank you for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. This is episode number 187, and guys, I am super stoked with our guest this week. One of my favorite songwriters anywhere on the planet, and we actually have a lot in common with Sean McConnell. Now, Sean is originally from Massachusetts, kind of like myself. He was born there, and I guess he got out of there around the age of 11 and moved down south to Georgia, and has kind of been adopted by the Texas, I guess they call it the red dirt scene here, even though Sean's not exactly red dirt country music, but he's kind of made a name for himself in Texas without really having lived here ever before. So I just kind of wanted to welcome Sean to the show, and thank you very much for calling in today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So Sean's actually going to let us play a couple of his songs, which are videos that are located on his YouTube. And you guys can check out his YouTube. It's Sean McConnell on YouTube. Last name is spelled McConnell. And the first one is called Ghost Town. Sean, tell us a little bit about this song.
Yeah, Ghost Town, like you said, I moved from Massachusetts, and then I grew up in Georgia for kind of the middle school, high school years. And I wrote that song a few years ago when I went back home to Georgia to visit my brother, who was still living there at the time. And I was just driving around the streets I grew up on, and no one I knew lived there anymore. And it was kind of that experience where you're driving down one road and you have a great memory about something that happened there, and then you go down another road and maybe a regret or something hard that happened.
So it's kind of like being a story about being left behind by your friends and stuff that have kind of moved off, and you're still left behind there.
Well, not being left behind there because I had gone too, but it's more about like revisiting and just being flooded with these good and bad memories, and just feeling like the whole place was different but yet the same because it still lives on and the way that you remember it. So it was I wrote that song driving home, kind of up in my head as I was driving back from Georgia to Nashville, where I live now, and it kind of all just wrote itself on that drive, and it came out when I got home.
That's awesome, guys. Check this out. This is a live and acoustic version of Ghost Town by the one and only Sean McConnell.
Crazy being back here, driving around this town. Can't tell if I want to build a shrine or just burn it to the ground. Just burn it to the ground. Turned left on Trickham, drove by your place. Swore if I could peek inside, I'd find us breaking bread and sing grace. I had to drive away, 'cause everyone around here now's a stranger. They don't know they walk on sacred ground. Yeah, they can't see what I can see. These apparition memories, still talking, still walking around, living in a ghost town. Well, I broke Jenny's heart in that Walmart parking lot. There's where me and Joe would go get stoned behind that Texaco truck stop, till his mama called the cops. There's a steeple bell ringing from the church of St. My Soul, and I saw Tommy's name on the marquee down in Montana's cool heart. I can see. These apparition memories, they walk right through their bodies like a cloud. They're living in a ghost town. Living in a ghost town. There's the lone out mode, one old summer tree for an amplifier and an electric guitar. My father taught me stairway, and I climbed it all the way up to the stars. Up to the stars. Everyone around here now's a stranger. They don't know they walk on sacred ground. Yeah, they can't see what I can see. These apparition memories, still talking, still walking around. They're living in a ghost town. Living in a ghost town. Yeah, they're living in a ghost town. Who's that living in my ghost town? Who's that living in my ghost town? Who's that living in my ghost town? Living in my ghost town.
All right, guys, that was Ghost Town by Sean McConnell. Again, once again, please check that out on YouTube. And of course, we'll also have a link in the description for his brand new record, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the episode. And we'll be right back after this message from our sponsors.
Hey everybody, this is Sammy Brazier at the School of Music 101. We are a full-service music store. We service everything we sell here. We do guitar repair, strings, whatever. You need your intonation set on your guitar, bring it in. We do it right here. We sell new and used guitars, amp sets. Trade-ins are welcome. Bring your old gear in, get some new gear. Come on. We're doing guitar lessons, bass lessons, keyboard, drum, trumpet. We have some of the best teachers in East Texas. Terry Sager's been with us. Toby Phillips. I have Daryl Gann on keyboard. Val Nell. All styles of music. We like to have fun with music, and we teach them, songs that they want to learn, and maybe a little music theory mixed in there with it. But we try to make it fun. We have 2 recitals a year. We're also going to do a battle of the bands, a battle of the lead guitar players. We're starting a new program that's called Garage Band, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some of these young people together, and they can form a band. And after a couple of months of them rehearsing with a mentor as a band, we will let them play at a local venue and invite their parents out and things like that, just to try to make it fun for them. The first lesson is on us. It's free, so come on out, sign up. And by the way, we have a special this month. If you don't own a guitar, you don't own an instrument, we're going to furnish one for you so you can see if you like taking lessons and maybe you want to pursue it and buy that instrument or another one somewhere. We also have a video production company. If you need them to come out and do your birthday or your graduation, whatever, we can provide it for you. Here are some of the students that make us really feel good about teaching. Some of the success stories, for instance, Allie Venable. She started when she was 12 years old. She's doing records. She's playing all over the country. Reese Malone, who started when he was maybe 10 years old. I can remember him coming in at 10 years old and wanting me to show him some Jeff Beck. So I knew he was going to be good. The store is open weekdays Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays we're open 11 to 3. We're located in Hallsville, Texas, 300 East Main Street, Hallsville, Texas.
I'm Lauren's mom, Susan. We started lessons about 6 weeks ago, heard about him through a friend, and it's just been a really good experience. She's enjoyed it and looking forward to the next lesson.
Y'all come on down and see Amy. She's at the School of Music. You'll probably find her behind the cash register. The store number is 903-660-7333. If you can't get us there, call me on my cell, 903-987-9639. We are School of Music 101, where school is cool.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with the ETX ROCKS Show. You guys should check out the Jefferson Burn Rally, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 13th to the 15th. Michelle, tell us about the Burn Rally.
Hi, this is Michelle, and I'm the event coordinator with the Jefferson Burn Rally. This is what we have going on this year. We will be having live music both Friday and Saturday featuring 22 bands from 3 stages, including Darren Morris, Geneva, White Trash Wannabes, Captain Joe Band, Kiss Tribute Band, Love Gunners.
And many, many more. That's awesome, Michelle. 22 bands, 3 stages, and 2 nights of live music. What else do you have going on?
Hello, Boston. We have vendors, food vendors. We have R32 stunt team. We have a poker run, a trivia walk, and first time ever, we have the Dino Drag contest.
And much, much more. That is amazing. And Michelle, I heard that you have something going on with motorcycles.
Yes, we have motorcycle games and we have a bike show as well. The event goes through till Sunday, and we have a church service for all bikers that would like to attend 10 a.m. with the CMA.
And so how much is it to get into the Jefferson Burn Rally?
It's only $20 and it's an all-access wristband.
So you can pay $20 and come out anytime, all weekend long?
All weekend long.
Awesome. Okay, so people know what the Jefferson Burn Rally is, but who does it benefit?
Benefits children that are burn survivors. We raise the funds and awareness, and we send it to the Percy R. Johnson Burn Foundation and Camp I'm Still Me. We send them to camp for a whole week, all expenses paid, and they get to be themselves. And when they get to camp, they are around others that are like them.
Where do folks go to come enjoy this rally?
Downtown Jefferson, Polk Street and Austin Street.
So guys, check out the Jefferson Burn Rally, October 13th through the 15th in downtown Jefferson. On the corner of Polk and Austin, you can get your tickets right there. Go out for a good time, for live music, all kinds of other cool stuff to do for a good cause benefiting the Percy R. Johnson Burn Foundation and Camp I'm Still Me. For more information on the Jefferson Burn Rally, look them up on Facebook at facebook.com/Jefferson Burn Rally.
Hi, my name is Ashley Marlin, and thanks so much for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
All right, we are back. This is episode 187 with Sean McConnell. Once again, Sean, man, first time on the ETX ROCKS Show. Really want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks for having me.
So I mentioned in the open that you were born and I wouldn't say raised in Massachusetts because you got out of there at about 11, but your mom and dad were kind of pretty into the music scene in Massachusetts, and I was there, actually born and raised in Massachusetts. I guess I moved out when I was about 25 and got down to Texas, but a lot of folks here in the South would know that there is a pretty flourishing country and folk scene in Massachusetts, and they even have a Massachusetts Country Music Association and all of that stuff, but your folks were kind of more into the folk music scene. So were they doing a lot of the jamborees and stuff that they have up there?
Yeah, my parents were working musicians for a lot of my childhood, and they were doing, like you said, a lot of folk music, a lot of covers, Sean Colvin, Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills, Nash Young, James Taylor, all the stuff I was raised on. They were playing that, as well as playing originals. My parents were in different bands together, and then they did their own music, and so they were just part of that folk sound going on in Massachusetts. There's so much good music coming out of there, and they were part of that when I was growing up, and that definitely gave me a nice musical bed, as a kid, listening to that caliber of music, and that definitely got my wheels turning.
Right, and your mom was a performer. Your dad was a musician and a songwriter. So, would you say that your mom and dad kind of influenced you in different ways?
Yeah, most definitely. They, my mom was a singer, and she still is. Has a great voice. She still plays out. And my dad, he would sing and play guitar as well, but he was a songwriter and was very influential in helping me craft songs in the beginning, just being a nice listening ear with a nice critique, and it definitely was a big help in the beginning of me becoming a songwriter.
Right, and see, we're just talking for the first time, but I'm a huge fan of the songwriter, especially a rootsy kind of grassroots kind of. I guess the word is organic, maybe, I don't know, but I just love an artist that still writes for the soul and is searching for emotion, and that's part of the reason why I love Sean McConnell. So, I mean, as a young songwriter, obviously you're being influenced by your dad as a songwriter, and you have to have an evolution process through, I mean, you're early 30s now, so we're talking probably over 20 years of evolving your songwriting.
Yeah.
What changes have you made over the years as far as just like kind of maturing within your craft?
I think in the beginning, like everyone else, we're copying people that we like. So
Right.
Like my earlier music sounds a lot like some of my folk heroes. And then as you get older, you find your own voice. You find things that you want to talk about instead of, just replicating music that you love. So I think, as being a 33-year-old songwriter as opposed to a 12-year-old songwriter, you live life, and then you actually have something to sing about. So I think that's one big factor. The other is hopefully, I think good songwriters and good performers learn to be, I think you learn to be more honest in your songwriting and your approach.
Yeah.
In that it becomes less, at least for me, it's become less about trying to say something cool or exciting, and just really trying to get to the honesty of it, which is what I've found people resonate the most with, is just being an honest songwriter. And I try to do that more and more with every record.
Let me ask you this. Do you, as a songwriter, and you're inspired by something, are you more inspired by a story? Do you hear a story in your head or a melody, or is it sometimes more just a line or a lyric that just hits you at a certain time and then you create a story around it? Or is it, is it both?
It's kind of all the above. I mean, it happens in different ways. I think mostly what I do is I sit down. I generally don't have an idea of what I'm going to write. I sit down with a guitar and I start playing until something strikes me as important, and then I'll keep playing that, and then a melody will kind of follow, and then I start mumbling the melody, and then something happens lyrically that just falls out, and it kind of the song leads the way. That's kind of my mantra, is the song knows more than I do, so it kind of leads the way, and I listen, I follow, and on a good day I'll get a good song.
That's incredible. I don't think I've ever heard anybody actually describe it that way, where they're just sitting down and playing on the guitar, and the guitar kind of leads the way. That's amazing. I mean, most people, I guess most songwriters that I've spoken to kind of hear the lyric first, and then they come up with the melody or the riff or whatever comes next musically. So to hear you just, I'm trying to picture you just kind of sitting there strumming the guitar, waiting for a song to come to you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a game of patience for sure. But and I do write. There's times I do have a lyrical idea I want to get out, or something like that. But most often it's kind of sitting there waiting for it to present itself.
Right. So guys out there, the year was 2000, and Sean McConnell in the year 2000 self-released his first album, completely independent. It was called Here in the Lost and Found, and also had one self-released in 2003 called 200 Orange Street. And what I find to be really interesting about Sean at this point in his career is around the time of the second record, you actually signed a publishing deal with Warner Chappell Music. Now, as a fan of yours, Sean, I got to say, vocally, you're as good as they come anywhere in the country, in my opinion. So, when you pick up this publishing deal, and basically a publishing deal is you're writing songs probably for a living and just over and over again, and hoping that they get picked up by other artists. But you've already self-released a couple of albums. So, is there kind of a what's the question? Is there an internal struggle between performer and songwriter at this point in your career?
I think I've definitely felt that struggle over the decade or more that I've done both.
Right.
But I think there's a sweet spot that I've found now where I am an artist first, and I tour pretty heavily throughout the year.
Yep.
and I let that lead the way, and I let that lead the songs. And then, when a couple of months goes by, and I have a bunch of songs, I know which ones are going to be for my record, and there's some that I might, not want to put on my record, or that I feel like they might be for somebody else. And then we, with a publishing deal, they find placements for those songs. So I found a good spot now where it all works together, and it feels very natural. There were some years where there was a struggle as far as not like an identity crisis, but there's only so much time in the day to do certain things. So, I feel like now I've found a great balance where both of those things kind of work together.
And I mean, do you find that when you're actually in the process of writing a song, are you already thinking about, this? I feel like this one's for me, or maybe this one should be for someone else, or how do you choose which songs you want to keep for your own records and which ones should go maybe for someone else?
I generally know. Well, sometimes I know when I'm writing them. There's obviously some songs that are in the middle of them happening. It's so personal that who else is going to sing this song but me, kind of a thing. And then there's other times where I don't know, but then maybe a week later I'll listen back and I'll be like, man, I love this song, but I don't think it's for me. Then I kind of know, maybe someone else wants to record this. There's also times where I do write strictly for other people. There might be someone's looking for a song, we get together and write together for it, or I just write for it. That happens less and less than it used to, but there's not like one rule of thumb, I guess. It just depends on the situation.
Okay, very cool. That's kind of what I figured, but I just wanted to hear kind of your approach on that. And I mean, just to let folks out there know, Sean's written some songs for people that all over the map, from Tim McGraw, Brad Paisley, Martina McBride, Meatloaf, the Plain White T's, Crowder. I mean, the list goes on and on. And again, like I said earlier, he's also, in my opinion, one of the most vocally beautiful artists there are on anywhere, really. First of all, I think my favorite Sean McConnell song is "Praise the Lord." I'd love to hear. I mean, did you write "Praise the Lord," Sean?
I did, yeah.
And man, this song is just so. It just kind of grabs you and pulls you for a ride. And you describe kind of the whole point of Christianity so well in such a short time for a song. I would love to hear kind of what your process was in writing "Praise the Lord," and then I have a question about Christian music right after that.
The process for writing "Praise the Lord," I actually remember I was in the back of my van touring with. I do tour. I play solo a lot, but I also play with a band a good portion of the year. So we were traveling Texas, I believe, and someone else was driving. I was in the back with my guitar, and it was definitely one of those songs that it happened pretty quickly. And it was just something I was feeling, just like what good music is. You want to express what's inside of you. And I've always felt like there was that, God can be made to be way too small for what I believe he is, and or it is, or whatever, however you want to name it. And that can be frustrating for me. And it just came out in a song, and it's just kind of my identity as a person who believes in that mystery that I can't explain, but that I think is a lot more grand than a lot of people would give it credit for.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the lyric in there about fear. It almost brings a tear to my eye every time I've heard it, and I've listened to that song dozens of times over the last couple of weeks. I might be a little obsessed with that song, I'm not going to lie.
I'm glad you like it.
All right, so many artists are exclusively Christian or exclusively secular, but you have taken a different approach by combining the two throughout your career. So what is your viewpoint on these labels?
Man, this sounds like a trite, but I really don't. I don't feel like labels serve us well, because
very true.
They come with a lot of baggage, and for lack of a better term. They do box us in, and I don't know that they do us any good, really, because I don't see my music as Christian, and I don't see it as secular, as I don't see myself as either of those titles. It just is what it is. It's the human experience, and I write about what I feel, and so yeah, I think those labels are too. It's almost like what the song's about. The labels make it too small. It can't be fit into a specific name.
Do you feel like at any point in your career you've ever tried to craft within a label?
I've ever tried to craft within a label.
Yeah, like, you're trying to, before you even sit down and you're deciding, you know what, I'm going to write a song, and I think this song is going to be Christian. Or are you just sitting there and writing the song and whatever comes out, comes out?
It's pretty much the latter.
Yeah.
Like I said, there are some times where certain artists want a song, so certainly I'll know, like, okay, this is going to be in the country world in the back of my mind. But even then, I feel like the best songs, I guess I would say it this way. I think that for me, the healthy way and the best way to write, where I know I'm going to have the best chance of getting a nice, honest song that will last a long time in my career, is when I have no preconceived notions of what it should be or how it's going to fit in, but I'm just, like I said, letting the song lead the way and following where it goes.
That's awesome, because I know a lot of people, especially when you're signed to a label, you can kind of lose that freedom artistically, where now you have to be in a box, and now you have to write a certain way, and you have to, stay in the same lane and all of that stuff. And Texas is kind of almost kind of like the center for independent artists, and when you're independent, that freedom exists where you can stay outside of the lane. You don't have to travel down the same road that everybody else is doing. And Sean McConnell, as an independent artist, you were an independent artist for a lot of years, and just recently have been signed to a label. So I would love to hear your viewpoint from both sides, as an independent artist and now being with a label. Do you feel like once you're signed, you kind of lose some of that freedom, or is that different? Because I know Rounder Records is an incredible label that really shines a light on kind of the rootsy side of music anyway.
I think it depends on what kind of deal you have, and I've only had this one, so I can't speak for other people, but for friends that have been in situations where they did feel like they were being made to do something that they felt like wasn't them. Right. I think that's a very specific type of deal. With Rounder, I had made the record already before I even met with Rounder. I funded the record myself. I went and made it. We had the record in the can, and then we went to see if we could find a home for it with a label, which ended up being Rounder. But I did it for that reason. I didn't want someone having too much input into the creative process or telling me what kind of record they wanted. So for me, it worked out great in that way, where I could create it. I had what I wanted. It was what it was. And then Rounder liked what they heard and they got behind it.
Right. Because I've listened to a lot of different songs by you and from different portions of your career. And I really didn't feel a whole lot of change between the independent albums that you self-released and, the self-titled album that you first did with Rounder. And then, of course, the new record, Undone, which I guess comes out this week, right?
Yeah, September 8th.
September 8th, which is 2 days from when we're talking. I've already pre-ordered it. It's the 3 songs that you released are amazing. And I definitely wanted to ask a question about the new record as well and talk about that a lot. Basically, this is a re-recording of the self-titled debut Rounder Records record. But it's all
Rounder record.
Yeah, Rounder record. But this is all acoustic, and it's basically the same songs except you've added one track, which I definitely want to talk about the added track. But what was the strategy behind you wanting to kind of release the same record, but kind of less production and more intimacy and all of that, because that could be perceived as a big risk.
Yeah, a lot of people said that to me, and I've never felt it to be a risk. I just always heard, I play probably 80% of the year solo acoustic, and so it was a mixture between wanting people to hear how the songs sounded when they were written before they were produced, and also wanting people to go home with a record that sounded like what they heard on stage. Because there's a big difference between a fully produced record and a solo acoustic record.
Yep.
And both of them are important to me, but they're both very different. I grew up on a lot of acoustic music. A lot of the guys that are my heroes, they never even would say this is an acoustic record. They just always made a record with just them and a guitar. So I was kind of raised on that. And I really felt like specifically this collection of songs would really speak in almost a completely different way if it was recorded just live acoustic. And so that's what we did.
And I'm a huge fan of acoustic music, guitar, piano, ukulele, whatever. Just if it's unplugged and just kind of that rootsy feel, I love that, especially when it comes to folk Americana kind of music. One thing I definitely want to ask you, as a guy that kind of grew up in the Georgia area and then moved up to Nashville, obviously with your parents' influence, you kind of you probably knew real early on this is what you wanted to do with your life. What I would love to hear is how in the world did you kind of get into the Texas country scene? Because I know there's a big disconnect between Nashville and Texas when it comes to music. So how did you end up getting played on the radio here, and then following that up with as many shows as you do in Texas as well?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. So Wade Bowen down there in Texas is now one of my best friends in the world. At the time, this is maybe 7 or 8, 9 years ago, we met through songwriting, and as we continued to write, as we continued to be friends, he basically asked me one day if I knew what was going on down in Texas with the music scene. I said I have no idea, and he invited me to come open up. I think it was like 2 weeks with him, acoustic, just hop on my bus and open up my shows acoustic. I want people to hear you, and I want you to see kind of what we're doing. So I was like, heck yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. And after that 2 weeks, something just kind of clicked with people, just really dug it. And I saw just this really almost like a throwback musical landscape of a real grassroots approach to the fans just really knowing that so much of this has to do with them coming out and then bringing 20 friends and time they show up, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
They just love music down there, and they so it was an eye-opening experience, and it just worked so well that we ended up, I probably spent the next 3 years doing 12 or 13 shows a month in Texas.
Wow.
And just really found a home and a kind of a brotherhood there with all those cats touring around and playing Texas, and it just became this thing that I'd never expected, and I'm forever grateful for it. It's been a real blessing to me and my family, and so I keep going back because it's just, we love it.
So, I mean, you've kind of seen both sides of the Nashville, Texas tug of war, or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's kind of, I think the situation there is kind of going to the back burner. I think Nashville is a little more amenable to the Texas country scene than they have been in the past. And I think a big reason for that is guys like Aaron Watson and Cody Johnson kind of breaking that barrier, those walls down. As someone who's seen kind of both sides of that, what do you think, how do you view the possibilities of Texas country on a national level? I mean, it's obviously growing that way, but as someone who's toured the country, do you think the rest of the country is ready for Texas country?
Man, I think, again, like, it's not like I don't see why there are labels to these different genres, but I'm not sure. I think good music is good music.
I
and
agree.
People are going to connect with it. And so that would be my answer. I think, if it's good music, people connect with it, it's going to do well, anywhere. And the whole Nashville, Texas tug of war, personally, I kind of think it's funny because I don't think it's like, I think, like you said, it's becoming less of an issue because there's just no time for that. Good music is good music, and who has time to fight over Nashville versus Texas? It's a little silly.
I think people just need to relax.
I agree. Everyone needs to chill.
Yeah, I think they just need to relax and listen. Music is not going to be for everyone. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not a huge contemporary country fan. I don't like some of the bro country and hip hop or whatever you want to call it. But if that's what's marketable today, then that's what happens. It's just if that's not what I like, then I gravitate towards what I do like, and you don't have to dog the other side of it just to enjoy what you like.
Yeah, exactly. And some of these people whose music you might not like or I might not like, they're doing what they want to do, and you can change the channel if you don't like it. That's the beauty of this. There's no one's forcing you to listen to something, so just don't buy their music.
All right, so I guess the last thing I definitely want to talk about is it's the bonus song from the Undone record. And just so you folks aren't confused out there, the name of the new record is Undone. It doesn't mean it's not finished. But the bonus track you put on there is a song called Nothing on You, and this was a co-write with one of my favorite songwriters on the planet, Laurie McKenna, who's from Stoughton, Massachusetts. And people who listen to my show, I talk about Laurie all the time, so they probably know who she is. But in case you don't, she's won Song of the Year 2 years in a row at the Grammys. That means she's a two-time Grammy Award winner consecutively for Girl Crush and Humble and Kind. But this song's kind of, it's not a new song, is it?
It's probably 2 years old. But this is the first time we've really released it, and it's the first time since we wrote it. So I wrote this song with Lori at her house in Massachusetts, probably about 2 years ago, maybe a little less.
Okay.
And so we put it on this record, and she was in Nashville. We went and recorded it live in the studio together. Just had a blast. It was much fun performing it as we did writing it. And I'm so grateful that it's on this record and that she would sing it with me, because I love the way it turned out. I think it adds a lot to the collection. And like you, I'm a friend with Lori now, but I was a fan first, and that she continues to blow my mind. It's just
she's ridiculous.
Her talk about honesty. That she's just mind blowing. She's one of the greats.
Now, her record last year, The Bird and the Rifle, is one of the most, probably the best collection of music I've heard in a couple of years at least. And this record is so under the radar, I think, because Lori is known so much as a songwriter that she doesn't get the come up and she deserves as a performer. So, I would definitely implore people to check that record out. It's called Bird and the Rifle. Unbelievable stuff. And so what made you decide to, I guess two questions. One is kind of a selfish question, I won't lie. First, what made you decide to finally release the song, not only, on your record, but also release it as a duet? And secondly, is there any possibility that this song ends up being a radio single for you?
We released it because it was originally, I had thought about it for the self-titled record, and there was no reason it didn't make it. It just didn't. I don't know why, but it always felt like part of that batch of songs. So it made sense to me to put it on this record. And as a duet, just because, if you can do a duet with Laurie McKenna with a song you wrote with her, why would you not? So,
exactly.
So yes, that was the first question. What was your second question? I can't remember.
I was curious. Again, this is a very selfish question, but is there any chance that this will be released as a radio single?
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's going to a folk radio campaign that is, as I understand it, they get the record and they kind of play what they want. So
yeah,
I have a feeling that would be one that we gravitate towards. So we're putting it out there, and we'll see what happens with it.
Very cool. All right, so Sean's actually going to let us use a second video from his YouTube. Again, I implore you guys to check out his YouTube. It's Sean McConnell. But this song is called Best We've Ever Been. So tell us about the story behind this song, and it looks like you're sitting on a porch performing this one.
Oh, yeah, the back porch session, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote that song, so I've been married now 12 years, and I wrote that song for our 10-year wedding anniversary. And so yeah, it's a love song. It's about my wife. It's about just celebrating our love, and it actually has a timely story behind it because the first time I played it for her, I surprised her with it when I was opening up for Greg Allman at the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra for New Year's Eve that year.
Oh my gosh!
Which was an unbelievable honor.
I can imagine. Jeez, I wouldn't have been able to speak.
Yeah, I couldn't. I walked in and there he was, sound checking, just sounding amazing. So that was something I'll always remember about the song, especially now that he's passed. It was a real honor to get up and play music on that same stage with him that night.
Right.
But yeah, that's our love song right there.
And before we get to the song Best We've Ever Been, I just wanted to, I completely forgot. I got to thank you because as I was researching you, the name David Wilcox popped up as one of your influences.
Oh man, he's David Wilcox, along with my parents, are one of the top 3 kind of compasses that I had growing up as a songwriter and performer, and he will always and forever be my musical hero for sure.
Well, I just wanted to thank you for that because I had not actually heard of David Wilcox, but as part of researching you, and his name popped up, I actually went and started listening to some of his stuff. That guy is amazing, man.
He really is.
He's got a song out called The Spoon and the Fork or something, or She Wants the Spoon or something like that. It's just amazing stuff. It reminds me of, kind of the old late 70s folk vibe. That was so strong. But anyway, I digress. I just wanted to mention that and thank you for turning me on to someone new, at least for me. But anyway.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem. So this is called Best We've Ever Been by Sean McConnell.
About the past. You were such a young thing, and I was just a kid. Baby, we had no idea. Honey, I would do the same thing if we did. Yeah, now look at you, laughing like you're town, tell them what I'm from around. 10 years down the road when we're looking back.
All right, so we are back. And Sean, tell folks out there where they can follow you on social media, and especially where they can find your last two records, or even all of your records, because I've got your last two, but I would not mind having the rest of them.
You can go to SeanMcConnell.com, and there's links to all the social media pages there, as well as links to iTunes and Amazon and Spotify and all. However you consume music, there most of the records up to a certain point are out there. So SeanMcConnell.com will get you where you want to go.
All right, very cool. So again, that's kind of the home for everything that can get you everywhere else. It's a hub. SeanMcConnell.com. Its last name is spelled McConnell. You can get his social media there. Is that a good place for people to go to book you for a show as well?
There's a contact page on the website with booking agent and management information. So yeah, that would be the place to go.
All right, very cool. And we will definitely link that in the description down below. So if you guys want to visit with Sean, make sure you're clicking that in the description. So guys, again, you guys, I want to thank you for tuning into a brand new episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. This is episode number 187, in a little over a year and a half. We're really excited. But we want to thank Sean for calling in today and taking time out of his day to talk with us. First time on the ETX ROCKS Show. Thanks again, Sean.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I also want to throw a shout out to Ross Dupre, who is Sean's manager, who set this all up for us. So thank you, Ross. And again, if you're tuning in to us for the first time or hearing about the ETX ROCKS Show for the first time, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ETX ROCKS. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, the TuneIn app, and about a dozen other places. So wherever you're listening at, if you guys could hit the subscribe, follow, or like button, that would be amazing as well. That'll help us out in getting more exposure for all the artists that we talk to on the ETX ROCKS Show. As we always say on this show, we want to thank you guys out there for supporting live music, and don't ever forget,
ETX rocks.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Lynn, and make sure to tune in to ETX ROCKS with
Boston Chris,
Aaron Watson, ETX ROCKS.
ETX ROCKS, Alan Fox Band.
Hey guys, we're the Morning Madhouse. I'm Carter. I'm Brandon.
I'm Ginger.
It's the best podcast ever made in all of history.
Hi, this is Paul Bebo, and I ETX ROCKS with Boston Chris Barnes. You're gonna love it.
ETX ROCKS.
Hey, East Texas, DP here. ETX ROCKS.
Hey, East Texas, we're Enduring House, a Christian rock band.
ETX ROCKS!
Hey, this is Monty Pittman from ETX ROCKS.
Hey, East Texas, Jaden Farnsworth, ETX ROCKS.
Hey everybody, I'm David McCarty with the Gypsy Creek Band. As always, ETX rocks.
Hey guys, this is Chris Colston. Thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
To the ETX ROCKS Show.
The ETX ROCKS Show.
Ho! Hey folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and I just want to make sure you support local music.
Hi, East Texas, this is Chris Wayne.
And Crystal Clark with KYKX 1057, ETX ROCKS.
Hey, East Texas, we're Lady Shadows and the Tramps. And just remember, ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Todd Freeman of ETX ROCKS with Boston Chris.
Hey, East Texas, I'm Waylon Hicks, and remember, ETX rocks.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the one and only SP, El Mexicano con Estilo. Make sure to support your local music, and ETX rocks.
Hello, we're one way home.
Hey, East Texas, this is Teaser.
Please continue to support local music.
And always remember, ETX rocks!
Howdy folks, this is Aaron Watson. Support local music and ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Chris Colston, and make sure you support local music
And ETX rocks.
Hey, this is Hannah Kirby. Thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Tough guy, ho!
Covering music-related content of all genres. If it filters through Eastern Texas, it's fair game. Y'all bring it. From Texarkana down to the coast and Dallas down to Houston and everything in between. We are ETX ROCKS!